Hey there, welcome to Live by Design, a place where I hope you will find content that is informative, inspiring, and insightful. I'm your host, Muadi. I'm a life strategist and a transformational speaker, and today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2015. Happy New Year, everyone! I know I am late. It is March, and my intention was to reach out to you at the beginning of the year, but I've been busy. I set some really high goals for myself this year, and I have been really pushing myself to bring them to fruition. So I'm so sorry to have been gone for so long, but I am so grateful and excited to be back. March, the end of this month, will mark the end of the first quarter of the year, and typically by this time, most people have completely abandoned their goals and the resolutions that they set for themselves at the beginning of the year. That energy that we feel at the end of the year, the freshness of January is now, for many people, just a distant memory. And in the absence of sort of the peer pressure and that collective energy of, it's the new year, do your resolutions, etc., many of us, the energy and the attention starts to wane, and then life gets really busy, and we lose that enthusiasm, we lose that excitement. And so if that's the case for you, today what I would love to offer for you, what I'm going to offer for you, are just a couple of tips and some suggestions for things that you can do to bring it back, to sort of pump your brakes a little bit, take a moment and do a little assessment of where you are, how far you've come. We're still very early in the year, and if you really made a decision you could radically change the direction of your year just by taking a few simple steps, like in the next 30 days. And I know it seems a little bit daunting at the onset when you think about it, but it's really, it's not that hard to change your life. It really isn't. It's work. You have to make an investment, and you do have to make a commitment, and you do have to put in the time. But the actual tasks that need to be done, the actual steps that you have to take, in most cases, they're not that serious, you all. We just tell ourselves, it's too hard, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too tall, I'm too short, it's too late, I'm too young. We come up with these lists of reasons as to why we think that what we want is out of our reach, and then after a few days or a few weeks or even a few months of really trying, we just sort of give up on ourselves, especially when we don't see the results that it is that we think that we should be seeing after a certain amount of time. What's really interesting is that at the beginning of this year, at the end of last year, I taught a course, an online session for Temple University's online campus. I taught their American students and their Japan students on a webinar that we did, a live webinar that we did. And the course actually took place in December, the session rather took place in December. My full course is coming up in this December at the end of the year. But I actually reached out to Temple University at the beginning of the summer of last year. So I reached out to them, I would say, June, July of last year. And I didn't even hear back from them until August. I made a decision that I wanted to get back into teaching at the university level. I was an adjunct faculty member for the fundraising program over at NYU, and I missed it. And I was like, I want to get back into it. And so I just randomly called them. I got in touch with the person, the chair of the department, and it took a long time for us to really cultivate a relationship, for them to sort of tease me out, for us to figure out what the course was going to look like. A couple of weeks went by. I didn't hear from them for a couple of, maybe a month or two. And I sort of just put it aside. And then, towards the end of the year, they got back in touch with me, and it happened, and it was a wonderful course. I had a fabulous time, looking forward to December. But my point is that sometimes it takes a while to see the results of the work that we're putting in. And, we're in an age now where everyone is really addicted to immediate gratification. If the person that we like doesn't like us right now, it's a wrap. If the job that we're in, if we have a little bit of a downturn or a little bit of an uncomfortable moment, we can't see that there's a possibility for things to turn around, because in that moment, we're feeling frustration or anger, and we want it to be fixed right now, right? And that oftentimes happens. And, when you plant a tree, If you plant a seed, sometimes, I heard Les Brown speaking a while ago, and he, told a story of a bamboo tree that takes 5 years to bear any fruit or to bear, to come up from underneath the ground after you plant the seed. So sometimes when you're working towards your goals and you don't see that the results right away, we get discouraged. And, we start to think that nothing's happening and we go back to our own ways. It's like when people try to lose weight. Sometimes if they don't see, the first 10 pounds coming off the first 10 days, it's a wrap. They're done. We watch shows like The Biggest Loser and we see once a week this progression of people losing weight, but we don't understand that the healthy way to lose weight takes time. Anything that is worth doing, it's going to take you some time. And so if you set some goals for yourself at the beginning of the year and you haven't seen any forward movement, you can do a couple of things. You can always sort of, change your strategy, and you can always sort of ask yourself, am I working hard enough? Am I making the right connections, etc.? But, you have to have patience. Transformation is a process. It's not a procedure. Change is a process. It is not a procedure. And so whenever you're working towards something, the first thing you must cultivate is discipline and the discipline of patience. Okay, but if you've been working and you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're feeling like things aren't going well, I want to offer you 3 tips, and 3 R's. I like to do things in threes, and I like to do them with letters that are the same, because I find that it's easier for people to remember things that way. It definitely is for me. And so the 3 R's are refocus, revise, and recommit. Refocus, revise, and recommit. If you find yourself right now in March having given up on your goals or falling back into old habits or just really kind of stuck, I want to encourage you to refocus, revise, and recommit. Refocus. That's the first thing that I want you to work on. As I said, I've been working really hard, and I have some new clients, I have some new projects, I'm working on some new products and that type of thing. And so there was a point, I would say, about mid-February when I was feeling a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Everything was sort of coming at me and different opportunities were coming, but that required me to sort of step up and do more work. And, I was starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed. And what I found was there was about maybe a week, a stretch of 5 days, that I did not do any of my meditation. I didn't do my morning rituals. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't doing my morning prayer. And because I was feeling like, I don't have time. And I found that the more I got away from those things, the less time I felt like I had, right? I stopped doing those things, or I sort of put them by the wayside, thinking that was going to get me more time. And in actuality, I ended up being less efficient, less productive, and even more harried. So I would say after that week, that 5-day period, I had to refocus. I completely had to refocus, and I had to just sort of stop and pull back a little bit and take a look at who I was becoming in pursuit of my goals. I have some financial goals I'm trying to achieve this year. I have some professional goals that I'm trying to achieve this year. But one thing that I know to be true is that it's not just the goal itself that is important. It's who am I becoming in pursuit of those goals that is equally important to me anyway. And I don't ever want to gain anything at the expense of my inner peace and my spiritual practice and my awareness of my connection with, divine energy and the universe. Excuse me. So I had to stop and refocus and look at my goals and look at how I was living and make a few decisions as to what needed to change before I could go forward. That's where the revise came in. I made some revisions to my goal. I adjusted some things. I took a couple of goals off of my list. I started the year with about 12, and I took off 2. And it doesn't seem like much, right? 2, I'm left with 10. But the 10 goals that I'm left with, they're so aligned. They really flow together nicely. Those 2 outlying goals, those 2 outlier goals, I should say, they were great goals and wonderful things to accomplish, but they weren't aligned with any of my other goals. And as a result, they were taking me a little extra effort and extra time that at this point in my life, at this point in my professional career, I'm not really willing to invest. And so the 10 goals that I'm left with, they dovetail very nicely together. But it took me a moment to really look at the goals and figure out what can I let go of and still be good with myself, and what should I keep? What is an absolute must for me to keep? So I took the time, I revised my goals, and then I recommitted. One thing that I do every day, and since that little pause in my spiritual practice, I have not stopped. I do it every day. Is I write my goals down. I have 10 of them, and I do my meditation, I do my ritual, I do my journaling, and then I write those goals out. And it's interesting. I was talking to a young person, excuse me, a couple of weeks back, and they asked me. They were like, this person said, do you write them down every day? It's like, absolutely. And she thought that it would take too long, and asked me, look, how do you devote all that time? It seems like it would take so long. And I told her, it does take a long time, but once I've done that, it re-energizes me, and it reconnects me to my purpose. It reconnects me to, why I get up in the morning and why I'm pushing myself and working as hard as I do. And so, there are certain things that we do on a daily basis, right? Hopefully we brush our teeth every day. Hopefully we take baths every day. You definitely eat every day. Those are the things that you do to maintain your body tempo. And so writing down my goals and writing down, what it is that I want to achieve on a daily basis, those are the things, that's a specific thing that I do to take care of my dream, to take care of my vision, to nurture my purpose. So it's really important for me, and I strongly suggest for you, once you've identified what the goals are that you want to achieve, whether it's for the year or the month or the week, write them down and recommit to them every single day. I don't know why my throat's bothering me all of a sudden. Life is busy. There is a flow to life that's artificial, sort of man-made, and then there's what I call the natural flow of life. The artificial flow of life is that flow that's created by our incessant need to sort of keep up with technology and keep connected to people at all hours of the day, all hours of the night, never taking time for ourselves, but really just trying to keep up with what everybody else is doing, even people who we don't know, celebrities and public figures. Then there's the natural flow of life. And the natural flow of life is one in which we move with nature and we're connected to the energy of the universe, and we unplug sometimes from the electronics and the technology so that we can reconnect with ourselves, we can tune into ourselves and sort of reset. Your spiritual practice, your morning ritual, whatever that task is, whether it's yoga or dance or working on your car, whatever that thing is that allows you to disconnect from the world and tune into your inner voice, that is the mechanism. That's a powerful tool for you because it lets you connect with the natural flow and the natural order of life. And once you're connected to that and you stay connected to that, that energy, that awareness, that connection is what will sustain you while you are really pushing yourself to and challenging yourself to pursue new goals. But you are not going to be successful if you don't allow yourself the time to stop and think and reflect. It's critically important. And I notice that the slower I move, the more peaceful energy I try to sort of put out in the world, the easier my work seems to be. I'm more focused. I'm not as harried or I'm not as distracted. I'm much more productive, and the work that I produce is just of the highest quality. So for you, if you are struggling right now to find the energy and find the wherewithal to pick up on your goals, I really want to encourage you to do the three things. Refocus. Take a day, take an hour, take an afternoon where you can really sit back in stillness, take your notebook, take your journal, and sit somewhere and think about, are these the things that I really want to do? Do these goals really align with who I am? Are these goals really important to me? If I don't achieve these goals, how will I feel? If I do achieve these goals, how will I feel? Refocus. Then revise your goals if necessary. Again, I dropped 2 of my goals this year, and it was like a load being lifted off my shoulders, and it allowed me the space and the energy to really focus on the 10 big goals that are really going to move me in the direction that I want to go. and then recommit. Every morning, I get up and I remind myself why I got up that morning. And doing that keeps me on point, and it keeps me on task, and it keeps me moving in the direction of my goals. I've said it before, if you walk steadily towards your goals will meet you halfway. So it's almost the end of the first quarter. Let's all make a commitment that we are going to finish this quarter strong. I promise you're going to see me every week, no matter what's going on in my life, because as I was revising my goals, I realized that sharing this space with you and sharing this time with you and connecting with you is a top priority for me, and I'm committed to making that happen. I hope that what you heard today was useful to you. If so, please reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can also visit my website, muadidibingaunlimited.com. I have a few events and some speaking engagements coming up in the near future, and I hope to see you there. But in the meantime, if I don't see you at any of my upcoming events, I will definitely see you next week. So take great care of yourself. Take great care of everyone around you, and have a fabulous, fabulous day. See you soon.